Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We're excited to have Jeff Franklin and Steve Norris from TrueCommerce presenting on Jumpstart Your E-commerce in 2021 with TrueCommerce. And I know you're all eager to get started with the presentation, so before I pass it over to Jeff and Steve, as a reminder, we are recording this webinar and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And if you do have any questions during our presentation, please feel free to type them in the questions box and we will answer them at the end of our session during our Q&A. So now I will pass it on over to Jeff to kick off our presentation.
Thank you very much, Angie. So good morning, welcome. And what we would love to do is just get started by just introducing, I'm Jeff Franklin, I'm the channel manager, and we got Steve Norris, Vice President of Pre-Sales Engineering on as well. But what we want to go through is how things have changed and how things got sped up and so forth. So let's just jump right in. Buying used to be so simple, you know, was when you needed something, you had to go down to a store, you bought it. You know, things were simple, was very linear. People could get their goods, you know, and you could find everything usually in one or two places and be able to do that. But of course, things have definitely changed and the future is accelerated. Over, you know, e-commerce has grown just in this past year, 10 years instead of 1 year. I mean, we have really moved the marker much quicker because of this, you know, the COVID forced people to buy everything online. Made sure that you could get almost anything you ever need online, and it really became quite accelerated and you know, and pushed you into the future, you know, so really pushed that whole channel very quick. Now, with that being said, you know, people want to be able to order anywhere, whether it's on their phone, whether it's on a computer, whether, you know, tablet, it doesn't matter. They want to be able to just say, hey, you know what, I need this, and be able to just click and be able to do that. So, you know, when you take a look at that, you know, among primary, you know, stores or retailers, the number of online in the US and Canada were up 56% year over year. And, you know, that's just amazing that, you know, and that's even retail stores selling online as well, which is just unbelievable. And Steve, have you seen anything in the food and grocery?
Yeah, one of the big things that we see in food and grocery is kind of this expanding concept of being able to sell direct to consumer, right? Wix is reporting that in food and grocery alone, there's a 605% growth of online sales from January to April. Many of the organizations that we work with, specifically in food and beverage, but also in other verticals as well, have seen that growth. We've had a lot of organizations come to us that run Business Central or run Nav that are looking to be able to provide a more direct-to-consumer experience through selling direct through their own B2C site or online storefront that they sell through, or through facilitating communications with marketplaces. You know, one of the big things that we kind of saw this year from a food and beverage perspective was Kroger launching a marketplace, right? But we've seen a lot of other organizations from a retail perspective get into that game, and we've seen a lot of folks experience that, right? It's kind of been, you know, COVID now has been a tale as old as time, but, you know, I think there's a lot of things that we learn from it. And one of the things is that folks are expecting to be able to order from anywhere and be able to have that product delivered to them anywhere. And while those expectations existed in 2019 and 2018 and 2017, you know, Jeff, to your point, we've seen that tremendous acceleration in that area. And that's where, you know, that's where TrueCommerce is really, really poised to help folks.
Yeah, when would you ever see, Steve, that you could order Frito-Lay's, you know, Fritos online?
Yeah, it was funny. I actually ordered a couple bags of chips from their like snacks.com setup If you get a chance, Jeff, you should go out and check that out. There's like some pretty interesting tasting chips out there.
I will.
One of the things you see is organizations fundamentally start to think about how do they add new sales channels in order to be able to keep up, whether that's e-commerce, that's additional distribution channels through wholesale, whether that is, just simply other selling channels that they may pursue. There's been a lot of challenges just around product content in general, right? And I'm sure some of the organizations on this call have experienced the same thing. And we've talked to a lot of people over the last year about how they manage their product information, and how if you're going to sell and make a business to business or business to consumer portal available for folks to buy from, or you want to experiment with selling on the Amazon marketplace or on eBay, you really got to make sure that that product content's right. Our friends over at Retail Dive said that 40% of returns that happen from online purchasing is because the data was bad in the first place, right? I remember I had an experience recently where I was ordering an office chair. And when the office chair came, it was not clear to me the dimensions of the office chair. So I ordered this office chair thinking I was going to sit in it, and it was about the size of one of my feet could sit in it. So a little embarrassing. I think it was for kids, but that wasn't completely clear on the Amazon marketplace that I ordered it off of. The important thing is that caused a return, right? That was disruptive to their organization. And I'm not going to order from that marketplace again, and they shall remain nameless, the Amazon seller that was involved in that.
Yeah, I had the same thing, Steve. And you know what? I returned it and will never order from them again. Good point.
You got the baby office chair as well?
No, it was something different. It was a jacket that came in, and I don't know, that jacket was not what they described.
I've been there before.
All those rhinestones just didn't go well, so there you go.
Yeah, understood. But the power behind this is if you're an organization that's really looking to jumpstart your e-commerce, which is what we're here to talk about today, connectivity is key. How do we help you, or how do you get connected to all these different folks that you need to work with, right? Those could be distributors, retailers, wholesalers that you're selling through. These could be, e-commerce marketplaces. This could be your storefronts. The idea is connectivity is key. Jeff, if you want to go to the next slide, the reason connectivity is key is the way that you're successful in automating sales and shipment data and inventory data and product listings on these various sites look different based on the type of seller relationship you have and the type of retailer or marketplace that you're working with, right? There are many solutions that sit out in the market today that maybe just do EDI or maybe help you with marketplace connectivity, right? And some of them integrate with Business Central and Nav, some of them don't, right? But what we find is that you need to have options available to you in order to be able to successfully work and jumpstart your e-commerce programs. Those folks familiar with e-commerce know that you kind of fit in one of these three models, and that these models aren't exclusive, right? You have first-party sellers, third-party sellers, and direct sellers. Maybe your organization is all three of these. Maybe your organization just sells directly, or maybe you're just a first-party seller with Amazon. But really wanted to help you understand today kind of those relationships, and more importantly, the requirements around it. First party selling is something that maybe a lot of you are familiar with. That's when you sell, you're a brand or a manufacturer, and you sell directly to the retailer or the marketplace rather than the end consumer. We see this a lot with folks that are higher volume sellers for Amazon. We see this with Dick'sSportingGoods.com. We see this with BedBathAndBeyond.com. You see a lot of folks that do first party selling. You'll obviously see that a little bit with Walmart.com as well, right? Where you're selling directly to the retailer or directly to the marketplace, and they sell to the consumer. They are the merchant of record, meaning they own the inventory once you've shipped it to them, and they let you know, hey, the product has been sold, right? These first-party relationships primarily are supported through EDI. So these connections are your typical Amazon and Walmart.com and Target EDI connections. right? This is where we talk about the fun 3-digit numbers, right? Like an 850 and an 810 and an 856, right? That covers off your first party selling. But a lot of these retailers and marketplaces that exist only offer first party selling to folks that have high volume or have a few items that tend to be higher volume or quicker sellers, right? That's where you come over and you see the third party selling. So these are, if you've ever gone out and you set up an eBay account, right, and you started selling there, or you started selling, you created an Amazon marketplace and you started selling on there. This is where you own the inventory. You're responsible for things like the listing. You have control over the pricing. It gives you more control, but with that responsibility, right, of all the listings and the price, in managing the pricing and the content, right, as well as the inventory, there's a different set of requirements there for your organization. A lot of times when you're working with somebody like an Amazon or Walmart, they may say, hey, these few select items are available for first party. The rest of these products, we would like to have you, if you want to sell them, you'd have to have a marketplace account. We can help you in both of those scenarios. One of the challenges of third party selling, especially if you're somebody that sells traditionally into wholesale into retail, is that now you're worried about getting these ones and twos of orders where you're shipping direct to consumer versus to a distribution center. That requires supply chain agility on your side. It requires some warehousing agility. If you're used to shipping pallets and now all of a sudden you got to ship ones and twos of something, right? You need to have that flexibility. And more importantly, you need to have the connectivity behind it, which tends to be a blend of EDI and the more modern API connectivity. When you're connecting to somebody like eBay, they only provide API connectivity. If you're trying to communicate with the Target Plus marketplace platform, right, that's going to be API connectivity. So having that blend of EDI and API actually is perfect because it allows you to help in first-party sales and third-party sales. But then you may also be a direct seller, or maybe you don't sell through any of these marketplaces and you're a digitally native brand, right? Being able to, we have connectivity, right? And your organization needs connectivity around APIs. These common storefront platforms, whether you're talking about our external platform or you're talking about other top storefronts like Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, or BigCommerce, all require API connectivity. So to our point earlier about connectivity being the key, that connectivity, having the variations in connectivity and the ability to be able to do EDI as well as API connectivity through one provider allows you to be successful and allows you to be successful in jumpstarting your e-commerce. But the connectivity isn't where it stops. Being able to take that connectivity and being able to integrate it into Dynamics 365 Business Central, whether that's on-premise or in the cloud, or maybe you're somebody that's still kind of, you're still on nav and you still got a little bit of, you see that there'll be a little bit more time that you'll be on that. That's where TrueCommerce comes in and helps.
Yeah, that was great, Steve, because I'll tell you, a lot of people want to get on these, but don't realize what it really takes. It's easy to say, oh, I want to get on and sell on Shopify, but what does it really take to tie that back? That was awesome. So let's now introduce TrueCommerce and why it makes sense to partner with TrueCommerce. So TrueCommerce has something called the integration gateway, which is the integration into your Dynamics 365, BC, and it makes it very simple so that if you are doing EDI, as you can see on the left-hand side, it comes through that same integration. If you're working with Shopify, Magento, or even our own internal Nexternal, our e-commerce solution, it'll be able to get pulled in through that same integration. Marketplaces, the eBay, the Amazon, the Walmart, anything, again, ties directly into your Microsoft Dynamics 365. Makes it very simple. And the funny part is that if you're getting involved with all of these and you don't have good fulfillment, it's great that you say you want to be able to do all this, but to be able to fulfill those orders as well, TrueCommerce also has a solution that can help as well to be able to fulfill this. But again, the main thing is is that it doesn't matter which you plug in. You want to start off with Amazon.com, one of the marketplaces, fantastic, plug that in. If later on you want to do business with Target, you can plug that in as well. And again, it comes through that same integration. We make it very simple to add on these other channels and make it as simple and easy and less training on your side as you add on more and more channels. Anything you want to add to that, Steve?
No, I think you covered it off great there, Jeff.
Okay. Well, you can take this one then.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So when you're working with TrueCommerce, you're working with somebody that's tried and true in the Dynamics space. We've been integrating with the different Dynamics ERP systems for north of 25 years now. I can remember that actually the first version of Dynamics we integrated with was Great Plains, actually before it was a part of the Microsoft stack. It was actually Great Plains 2.0, which funny enough you installed on diskettes, Jeff, if you remember those.
Was that DOS? Was that DOS or Windows?
Yeah, it was certainly DOS based. And we've been doing it ever since. So while I haven't been around here for 25 plus years, we've been integrating with Dynamics for 25 plus years. And we know Microsoft very well. We're a gold certified partner. We're a part of the Microsoft Partner Early Access Program, which gives us early accesses to new releases of Business Central, so we can make sure that we've gone through all of our quality assurance steps as a part of our, as a part of our testing, so that when the new version of Business Central gets deployed and is available to the public, we're fully compliant with that. We do have integrations for all the Dynamics ERPs as a part of it. Today, we're focused really on Nav and Business Central. And what's unique about our solution is from a Dynamics 365 Business Central cloud, we're able to connect to your environment through a true cloud-to-cloud integration. So there's literally nothing that needs to be installed in your environment. If you say, wait a minute, Steve, we're on BC OnPrem, we're on the old Cal version and we're going to stay there for a while because maybe we had some challenges with some ISVs that were a part of the community, or maybe we just simply preferred it was easier for our users to use. That's perfectly fine too. If you need us to connect to your Nav environment, you need us to connect to your Cal-based Business Central on-prem environment, not a problem at all. We have the CAL code that you would inject into your environment. Innovia can help with that process as well as ourselves. And the nice thing is we're not provisioning additional servers here. You're not having to go out and find a server for this to be installed on. You're not having to provision additional Azure licensing for this, right? It all runs and operates from within the cloud. If you happen to be on BC OnPrem or in Nav, we have a little piece of, a little snippet of code that, a little snippet of code functionality and objects that we insert into Nav and BC OnPrem. But what's nice about kind of the way we're structured is that in those versions where we're not true cloud to cloud, we're cloud from a translation and communication perspective, and the only thing that exists is our objects from within your Nav environment or BC OnPrem environment. But the nice thing is it's a very small footprint that's net new objects, so we're not modifying core Nav or BC code as a part of it. You'll also see us out on the app stores. We're certified for Microsoft Dynamics for Nav and for BC, and we're a preferred Microsoft solution.
Awesome. No, that's great.
One of the reasons why we are preferred and one of the reasons customers prefer our solutions over the competitors in this space are not just our capabilities around connectivity to various different channels, right? We talked about EDI, we talked about API connectivity, all a part of kind of the TrueCommerce umbrella. But really what people love about our solution, especially if they're running BC or Nav, today is really the depth of the integration that we have. We have a little north of 15 different integration points into Dynamics 365. You can see these on the screen here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading them off to you, but the idea here is that we help you guys connect to those sales channels that you have, those inventory channels that you need to publish inventory content out to or product listings out to, right? The 3PLs, so if you're working with any third-party logistics companies or remote warehouses, we have full capabilities of communicating in those aspects and integrating them into Business Central. And if you're looking to better communicate with your suppliers, we help in that particular area as well. We've also been conscientious to think about the requirements of things that happen from an organization as they transition even more to B2C, right? When you're selling direct to consumer, a lot of times you may have the need to be able to do things like have the customer created in BC or NAV. These are things that we've already built into the solution so that you're not in a position where you're trying to take an existing solution and figure out how it fits in the new e-commerce world, right? You're able to use our solution out of the box to be able to accommodate for those transactions that would traditionally be EDI, or for those transactions that are API-driven transactions through various marketplaces or storefronts.
Yeah, and Steve, the one thing that I noticed too is I see the purchasing side, and a lot of people, even though they want to get on marketplaces and all that, I think COVID also pointed out a lot of things that people don't have as good a supplier or, a supplier channel as they thought they had, before. And now they're realizing that and being able to deal with some of the bigger guys through EDI or through other, portals and so forth has really helped them as well.
Yeah, you see that a lot, kind of the COVID scenario exposed a lot of folks that maybe didn't have a lot of agility in their supply chain, right? Where they may be single threaded through one supplier for a particular part of the product, and then the supplier wasn't able to operate, right, due to a shutdown or otherwise. You see a lot of organizations looking at, okay, well, how do I come up with contingency plans if there are challenges? If there are challenges in particular, in particular markets, in particular locales, or manufacturing of a particular product that you would need to be successful. I was reading this morning that there was, I think it was GM was reporting today actually that they were going to have a slowdown in car manufacturing because of, because of issues in the semiconductor industry.
Yeah,
right?
chips. Yeah, I saw that.
So a lot of folks are looking at, okay, while that tends to be a little bit more of a broad scenario that covers off pretty much all the chip manufacturers, you see a lot of people trying to figure out, okay, how do I make sure that something like this doesn't just completely shut down my business? So they're looking to expand their supplier to community to accommodate for that. And oftentimes that means finding suppliers that maybe are less technically sophisticated, that may need a portal or something to interact, and we certainly can help there.
Yep, excellent. I read that same story. Unbelievable. Do you want to take this?
Go ahead. Yeah, the approach that we take from a storefront perspective is kind of unique. So TrueCommerce offers a storefront solution that supports both business to consumer and business to business transactions, all through the same user interface. A lot of times what you see, if you're out, especially what we've seen over the last year in organizations improving direct-to-consumer sales and that experience, we've also seen folks optimizing the business-to-business aspects, right? Those same people that are ordering products for optimizing their home, right? Whether they decided to improve their coffee maker over the stay-at-home order, or they took on, the artisanal bread baking and ordered such products, right? Also those same people are ordering products from their business from home, right? So we've seen a lot of organizations embrace B2B. A lot of times the challenge with B2B is it tends to be, B2B tends to be archaic user experiences, right? Where people are ordering based on, SKU number and not actually seeing or looking at the product, right? So the nice thing about our external application is it extends that B2C e-commerce experience to B2B while allowing for things like automated reordering, customer-specific pricing. And a lot of times where we see this makes sense is a lot of the traditional storefront players may not do B2B at all, maybe only focused on direct-to-consumer business, or to enable the B2B aspects of it, tend to be pretty costly. This is a solution that really comes in and allows you to be able to, at a very reasonable price point, do both B2C and B2B, or maybe just one, right? We have quite a few folks that run Nav and Business Central to actually use our solution just to take in B2B sales. That also can be extended in order to do sales rep mobile ordering. That also has the concept of loyalty and subscriptions, right? Jeff, I don't know if you signed up for one of the wine clubs recently, but there's actually quite a few of our customers that run loyalty and subscription programs through that. And actually a lot of organizations thinking kind of cleverly about how do they have subscriptions, whether that's for reordering from their B2B, from having customers not have to worry about reordering from a B2B perspective, or extending a subscription program or a club program to their consumers.
Yeah, the one thing I like, Steve, is on that, I think we have a customer that's an olive oil company. With one click of the key, they create 10,000 orders at the end because they send out the olive oil of the month club, to all of their members. And with one click of the key, it sends, creates 10,000 orders, not having to sit there and create 10,000 orders one at a time, which is nice.
One of the nice things about the way we've built out our infrastructure is our vast, set of marketplaces, right? And you look at kind of EDI and you think TrueCommerce has been doing that for 20 plus years now, and has a library of over 92,000 trading partners we can connect you to immediately. We have similar on the marketplace side, although while not 92,000, there's not 92,000 marketplaces that exist. We do have connectivity to 100 plus different marketplaces. While the most common that we see tends to be, Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Wayfair, right? Tend to be the most common ones we work with. We certainly can connect you to a slew of other North American marketplaces, as well as kind of the, the popular marketplaces that exist outside of the US, whether that's Alibaba, that's kind of more popular in kind of the Asia Pac region, or the Rakuten that's a part of Japan. Or maybe that's Mercado Libre, maybe that's Zalando is, a pretty popular marketplace that exists in Europe and kind of rest of the world. We can help organizations get connected to that. So as you're looking at, you're thinking about, how do we grow our business? If one of those areas is global expansion and global sales, we can help you get there. We can help you get there and are already connected to, to the various marketplaces that you see on our screen, and we continue to add, further connections as it makes sense.
And we make it very easy too, Steve, right? To add this on. So once, if someone's already up and running, with Amazon or Walmart, for them to plug in a marketplace is pretty simple, correct?
Yep, absolutely. One of the things as you guys think about, as you think about e-commerce and jump starting it, a real challenge around e-commerce, especially if you've just kind of dipped your toe in the water in 2020 and are starting to ship direct to consumers, actually executing on it. We saw a lot of organizations, in 2020 take kind of a traditional wholesale model and flip it on its side and say, hey, we need to sell direct to consumer, right? We saw that stat earlier, that 600+% of food and beverage, there was a 600+% uptick in sales for food and beverage, right? Last year alone online, right? A lot of those are organizations that are used to shipping to Giant Eagle and Kroger and Albertsons and C&S Wholesale and Ahold and the like, right? Where they're shipping pallets of goods, right? Those organizations tend to, they struggled in 2020 to meet the demands of the consumer, right? In those cases, we have a packing and shipping module that's a part of our solution that allows you to be able to do small parcel rating, automated and pack verified shipments, as well as being able to make sure you're adhering to the compliance requirements, whether that's blind shipping on behalf of a marketplace, whether that's blind shipping on behalf of a distributor that you're working with, or whether that's just as simple as making sure that we are rating on the appropriate accounts for the appropriate orders. These are all things that we can do through our packing and shipping solution that we've creatively called Pack and Ship. That is fully integrated into Dynamics 365 Business Central, as well as into Nav, to really give you that experience of being able to have barcode scanning as a part of your shipping process in order to be able to better execute and more optimally execute on shipping, whether that's shipping to a consumer or that's shipping to a distributor or otherwise.
Yeah, and Steve, I've also heard from some of our customers on the cartonization that for people that never did this really before, the cartonization helped them pick the right box, showed them how to pack it and everything so that they were shipping it at the most efficient cost as well. And that's, one of the options that we have for our pack and ship that I think makes it really easy for new customers to get involved.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jeff. There's nothing worse than paying additional money to ship packing peanuts, right? So, making sure, and a lot of folks on this call have ordered something from Amazon, probably in the last week even, right? And what Amazon's really good at is making sure all these items can get into one box, right? Sometimes you can order you can order a vinyl record and a book and a bag of Cheetos, right? And they somehow manage to magically figure out how to get that into one box that gets to your house, right? We have that as a part of our solution. We have the ability to be able to help you with package optimizations and making sure your organization gets pointed to the appropriate carton for the product, or understand how the products need to be oriented in the carton based on the dimensions and whether it's stackable or not, are all things that we can do from within the solution.
Yeah, good point. So here's what you were talking about before, because just to make sure that the product information is right. And I will never buy that code again. So that's right.
Yeah. One of the things that you think about, and one of the things that tends to sit kind of back of mind, but then quickly becomes top of mind, is managing product information. And when we talk about product information, that data generally exceeds what Business Central and Nav are storing, less maybe you customizing the environment. The idea of having this rich imagery, the idea of having videos and being able to do things like attribution and being able to map those attributes to the specific attributes that are a part of a certain marketplace or a certain retail account. Being able to handle the mapping of categorizations of products. So if you're selling that coat on Amazon, it might be under a different set of categories and drill downs than that coat would be on Walmart.com, than it would be on Target Plus, right? As a part of it, being able to manage that, being able to manage all the content that you need for listings, whether that's listings to various marketplaces, storefronts, or even information that you need to provide to a retailer, or you're looking to create a distributor catalog that has all this information in. We extend Business Central and Nav to be able to source the data out of them, right? That data set that's in Nav about the item, the short description, the cost, the price, right? The attributes that you have associated with the item in BC, we can pull that content out and then allow you to be able to enrich it with imagery, be able to check the products for readiness for a particular, for the particular channels or distributors or retailers the content needs to go to, and then make sure ultimately that the data gets to them. Again, kind of being that one center, one area of truth for product information, so that if somebody needs to go in and they have a question about a particular product, whether that's somebody in customer service, that's somebody that's a buyer at your organization, or that's a retailer, they can all go in and see that specific content that's important to them, and we have that single point of truth around that. But again, connecting to Business Central and Nav to make sure we have that base item information right and up to date.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I saw one of those specs for one of these, and they are huge. I mean, it's amazing. Each one of them is different from each customer or channel, and it's just crazy.
Guys, we've talked about a lot of things that we do. The important part is all these applications are interconnected with Business Central and with Nav, and is all a part of our TrueCommerce Foundry. So whether you're looking to manage product information, whether you're looking to leverage, get optimization out of your packing and shipping processes, whether you're looking to connect to storefronts or create a storefront, or whether you're looking to connect your EDI trading partners, that all happens through one application. That's one source of truth, one point of data. And while certainly you don't have to buy all these products at once, the nice thing is that you can add to, right? So as your business grows, and changes, right? we're able to help you there without you having to go find another provider. And this is all done from within one solution. We have a nav user, right? That's a part of our community that has been a part of our community for the better part of 5 years. Their organization pretty much primarily did EDI, right, until March of last year, when they decided, hey, we want to be able to start selling these products. We want to be able to sell these pet care products online, right, through a B2B and a B2C portal. So we were able to help them grow into that. Well, that wasn't something that was even on their radar in 2018, and they were only kind of mildly debating in 2019. In 2020, that became their top priority. And rather than having to go do a full evaluation and then go implement a completely other solution, we were able to stand them up and get them running quickly because they were already within our platform and they're already used to using the solution.
Well, but Steve, sometimes not all my customers are EDI or e-commerce or B2B. So, what happens if you get a ton of emails or, with attachments, PDFs? I mean, a lot of customers are getting that way.
Yeah, the nice thing is too is we often talk about areas of automation, right? And oftentimes this is only with the biggest of the big, or it's only with the highest volume, right? There may be folks that are on our call today that might say, hey, e-commerce may not be 100% applicable to me. Or they might say, hey, it's a part of our business, but man, we got a few customers that just keep ordering from us, which is a great problem to have, but they have limited technical sophistication. They said, hey, we're just going to keep sending you this PDF or this Excel document. We're going to send you these a couple times a day. We have the ability to be able to take those, convert those into an electronic format, and ingest them into Business Central as sales orders, right? Or into Nav as sales orders using OCR technology and clear text reading that we have on the back end. So this allows us to be able to say, hey, we can help you from an EDI perspective. We can help you connect from an API perspective, but we also can pick up these emails, whether it's a PDF attachment or the contents of the PO or in a structured format in the body of the email, and be able to integrate them into Business Central and the Nav, allowing you to be able to automate your customers from the biggest customer that you have to the smallest customer you have, all within the same platform.
And this is just like e-commerce. I mean, what's the difference whether you get an order in through a website or whether you get it in this way? To be able to pull that in automatic is awesome. So why us? Tell us, Steve, why us? What's the benefits?
There's quite a few things, and I think we hit home on quite a few of them today, but just as a recap, today we have 700 plus customers that run Microsoft Dynamics. We're a Microsoft certified partner and very involved in that space. We really missed seeing some of you guys this year. I was used to going to see everybody, all the Innovia, customers in the Innovia team in Wisconsin Dells. Was looking forward to seeing them in South Bend this year. Maybe we still see that this year, but we're very involved in the Dynamics community. We've been a part of the Dynamics Summit. We did that virtually this year, which was an interesting experience. The other thing is that we're fully integrated with the Dynamics versions that you guys use. We support people all the way back, believe it or not, the NAV 2009, the classic client. So we've been involved since then in the NAV community and still continue to support folks that are out there. We talked about our scalable platform and all of that being housed under one entity that allows you to be able to grow from within our applications. So while you might start in one area like automating e-commerce, there are certainly other areas that you can grow into. We're pre-connected to the leading storefronts, 92,000 trading partners and 100 plus different marketplaces, both US and globally. That's important because that means that we can connect you to these locations quickly. These aren't things that we're having to build out individually each and every time. All of our content's hosted in a tier 3 data center with full disaster recovery and full SOC 2 compliance to make sure that your data is secure. I was just talking with an organization the other day that was using an other provider that had been hacked as a part of the process. And it turns out they didn't necessarily have penetration testing happening on a scheduled basis. So they were a victim of some ransomware attacks, which was unfortunate for them and also unfortunate for their customers. But all these applications are supported through a single support team through TrueCommerce. We provide 24/7 emergency support as a part, as a part of our program, so that's not an additional add to be able to do that. And then we support all the updates for Business Central, so you don't have to sweat. You don't have to sweat as Business Central has their, cyclical releases. You're not having to worry about, is TrueCommerce compatible, or am I going to have to pay them again for compatibility with this version? We include that as a part of our overall agreement, as well as any changes to the mappings, whether that be EDI mappings, positional file mappings, API mappings. Those are all included as a part of our service. Where there tends to be, the other folks that may just do EDI in this space, or maybe dabbling in some of these other areas, tend to force you to be able to do those mapping changes, or maybe you work with an outside consultant or them to be able to do some of the mapping. We do all that management of that for you, so that you can continue to be successful in doing what you do best, running your business, right? Whether you're the customer service manager, whether you're, the EDI administrator, whether you're in, digital commerce roles, right? You can continue to focus on doing that, and we handle the intricacies of what we're good at, which is, data mapping and integration.
Well, Steve, could you just show us a quick look at it at least? And while you're getting here, let me, I gotta change presenters. Over to you, Steve.
Perfect.
There you go. So Steve, while you're doing that, I mean, what's amazing about this is that, everybody thinks e-commerce as a website and e-commerce as this, but it just shows how broad e-commerce and the whole commerce, network really is. And I thought that was very good to give them an overview of that. Okay, go ahead, start. I know we're running closer on time, but go for it.
Yeah, the first thing I'll start by telling you is, if you'd like to see a more detailed demonstration, if you'd like to do a little bit more, have us do a little bit more discovery into our business, into your business, and help you provide a more detailed demo, would love to do that. Feel free to reach out. You'll have our contact information after, after the webinar. But the important thing is that all this is under one roof, right? And because we're capturing these orders that are coming from anywhere, we're giving you visibility into exactly what's happening over our network. These could be transactions that we're capturing from a storefront. These could be transactions that we're capturing from an EDI perspective or otherwise. We give you full visibility into what's happening from within here, full drill down capabilities to be able to see exactly what's happening in the system. But the reality is that you'll live your day-to-day life in Nav or in Business Central, right? The solution, it can and commonly is automated, so that you just spend your days in Business Central moving orders through Business Central like you would, or Nav like you would any other orders that are coming into the system from, being manually entered or other ways that you may integrate them, right? But the nice thing is we do give you full visibility. So as transactions are moving across the platform, you have the ability to be able to see them from within here and be able to process them from within here. So we can go in and we can take a few of these orders and we can actually just send them right on down to Business Central manually, or we could have set this up on a schedule to process them. You'll see some of these orders are traditional retail orders that I've taken in through EDI. Some of these are from my Shopify site, right? Some of these are from my Amazon Marketplace account, right? Some of these are through a B2B site that I have set up on BigCommerce. Some of these are, also Walmart point of sale data, right? So I have all my transactions that I'm exchanging as part of the network in one place, and I can take these transactions and I could go ahead and I can actually just send them over to Business Central. So I have full integration capabilities with Business Central to be able to take those transactions and ingest them into Business Central. And then I'll see those transactions come into Business Central, and I'll see them right alongside the other sales orders that were created. So when I go in here and I take a look at my Business Central environment, I can go down, I can scroll through here, and I can actually go in and I can see I can see that these orders were created in the system. So if you bear with me a second, a little bit slow here today, we can see those transactions got created directly from within here, right? See all those Shopify transactions that got created. I can actually go in and I can see the content, right, directly in the sales order screen. So we've integrated those sales orders from Shopify or from our EDI connections or other file-based connections here. I can then go in and I can release them. If it's something that needs, If it's an EDI trading partner that needs a purchase order confirmation or a purchase order acknowledgement, or what we call an EDI lingo, an 855, right? Or an EDIFACT, an orders P, right? That can be released as a part of that. That can be picked up on that release process. That actual release process also can send the transaction, if you wish, over to our pack and ship solution for you to be able to actually go through the fulfillment steps on it. So I actually can come in, I can go to, I can go to our pack and ship application. I can see that transactions come into here, and I can actually go ahead and I can execute on it. I can use a scanner in order to be able to scan in the purchase order number or like a barcode for the order number that might be on a picking ticket. And I can actually go in and I can execute on the actual shipping of this itself. Now, if you said, hey guys, wait a minute, we want to be able to go in and we want to be able to, and maybe we have more sophisticated requirements around warehousing, right? The nice thing is, if we're talking about getting the shipping data, you can actually generate it through our packing and shipping solution. You can generate it directly in Business Central, right, through the shipping area, or if you're using some of the leading WMSs, right, whether that's the InsightWorks DMS pieces, or whether that's like a tier 1 warehouse management solution like a HighJump, we already have direct connectivity into those applications to be able to source shipping information. But I can go through and I can ship I can ship our products directly from within our pack and ship. We can see the products, right, that we're working with, and then we can go in and we can go in and we can ship it, right? If I wanted to do something like rating, right, we all know that your customers, especially if they're ordering online, most of them are not expecting to pay for the shipping, right? So it behooves you to be able to find the appropriate carrier that can get it there on time, that happens to maybe be at the lowest cost, right? As a part of this, we're also doing things like address validation to make sure you're shipping it to the right person and to the right and valid address. And then you actually can go in and have the ability to be able to go in and select the carrier. So we can see that both of these carriers, in this case, FedEx and UPS, can get it there in the same day. But you notice I'll save roughly $80, right? And by choosing FedEx. So that's $80 that I may have spent more if I just say, hey, I ship this using UPS every time. But I can go in, I'm getting the appropriate returned rates there. I'm saying, hey, I want to go ahead and I want to ship this out using FedEx Ground. What's nice as a part of this is generating all the content, right? Showing you the published rate versus your discounted rate. And it generates the appropriate packing slip if you need a branded packing slip as a part of your brand, or the retailer requires a branded packing slip. But it also creates as a part of it the appropriate shipping labels. So you will get the appropriate FedEx or UPS small parcel shipping labels, or even the appropriate postal service labels if you want to ship through USPS. We have connectivity today into about 60 plus different carriers that include also a lot of the typical last mile delivery carriers, which is helpful for those folks that are looking to figure out how do you get better communication in that final mile area. That information does get pushed back into Business Central, can mark the order as shipped, can send out the appropriate shipping detail to the appropriate marketplace, and allow you to be able to then go in and invoice that transaction from within Business Central. In addition to that, we do have the ability to be able to, whether we're talking about getting orders and sending shipments and invoices and inventory quantities and all those other areas of integration, in addition to that, there's also not just this transactional process, but there's also this concept of listings and being able to provide product information. So I have the ability to be able to source the product data directly out of Business Central and Nav and allow you to be able to enrich it. So if I'm going in and I'm taking a look at items that I have set up in my Business Central environment, I can see that I have quite a few in here. But Business Central, if I'm looking at even some of these items, doesn't have a whole lot of information about a particular item, right? At least not enough for me to sell this on an Amazon marketplace or even probably on my own website, right? So the nice thing is that we allow from within our solution the ability for you to be able to manage those product details as well. So within our product manager application, you actually can go in, you can see the products that you have loaded in your nav environment, and then you actually can go in and you can enrich that product content in order to be able to do the appropriate listings. So we can see I have this particular item from within here, but it's a new item, right? And I don't have all my imagery and everything set yet. But I can go in and I can edit the content for that particular item. I can add things like rich context descriptions, right? I can add the feature list, or what is usually that bullet pointed list that you see of product features on Amazon or on Wayfair or otherwise, right? I can go in, I can add that content in, I can translate it into over 60 different languages. I can have specific attribution that's appropriate for those particular items. I can add my SEO tags to that. I can have all that content, and then I evaluate that for readiness for each of the channels that we sell on. So we can see here, if I look at this, if I look at this particular tuner, which happens to be an item that I have set up in my Business Central environment, I can see exactly what's missing as a part of that content, right? I can go in and I can see that for many of the other items that I have from within here. So I can see the exact problems that the product has from a readiness perspective here as well. I can go in and I can see other details about items. So for instance, if I wanted to go in and look at, I wanted to go in and just look at, specific scrubs or something along those lines, I can go in and I can check the readiness for that. The nice thing is it has workflow associated with it. So if it's missing product data, it can be routed to the appropriate person at your organization. If you're a brand or a manufacturer today, you might say, hey, we know that we set this item up in BC or in NAB, but then it needs to get routed to somebody to take the imagery for it, right? Maybe it needs to get routed to somebody in e-commerce to add the descriptions. We have full product lifecycle workflow as a part of the solution that allows you to actually be able to go in and say, here are the workflows that I want to follow and who needs to update what, so I can make sure that I have all my content right. So for instance, I can send it through a pricing review to have somebody, have the system make sure that the price isn't zero, right? And I can have somebody go through and manually go through an attribute review, or have the system do it. Then I can send it over to somebody for image review to be able to go in and attach the images. These are different workflow steps that I have as a part of it that allows you to be able to have collaboration across your organization for each and every product, and allow you to make sure you have all that product data in one place so it can be presented out onto the other channels. Guys, I know we kind of... Yep.
Yeah, the one thing nice also, Steve, is that you can schedule it to update. So like Walmart might want this information every week, and Target might want it every 2 weeks, and one might want it every month. You can set that up on an automatic scheduler, right, to be able to upload that?
Yep, and you do have the ability to be able to say updates only. So a lot of solutions that we see out there that tend to work with product information tend to publish the whole catalog, and then you have to run it overnight, and it takes a couple hours if you have quite a few items. We have the ability to also be able to say, hey, we only want to publish those updates, right? So if you have, if you have a 10,000 SKU catalog and only 6 of the items have changed pricing, we're only going to be, we can go in and say, hey, we only want to update those 6 versus publishing the 10,000 SKU catalog again and again and again and again.
Yeah, no, that's a nice feature.
Guys, I want to
I know we're running close. Yeah, I know we're running close.
Yeah, I just wanted to spend that little bit of time with you guys, walking you through a high level what some of these solutions do, and I hopefully you found that helpful for your organization. Would love to dive into this in a little bit more detail with you. Feel free to reach out to your Innovia rep or directly to Jeff or I if you want to set up a more detailed discovery and demonstration. Would love to show you the product in the context of what it is that your business does to understand, to understand if you're a fit. But we'll go ahead and we'll pass back over to Jeff.
Jeff and Steve, we do have a couple of questions that came through.
Excellent.
So the first question is, does TrueCommerce support both BC on-prem as well as BC Cloud?
Yeah, actually we do. So we support both on-prem and cloud, even the early versions of on-prem that are still cow-based. So what we found kind of in market is there are several solutions out there that that somebody might view as competing solutions that only support BC from a extensions perspective and not from a cow perspective, but we're able to support you in both models. So whether you're on-prem whether you're cloud, whether you're on-prem with extensions, or you're on-prem cow, we can help you in all three of those scenarios. That's a great question.
Okay, thank you. And if Amazon or eBay changes their APIs, does TrueCommerce handle that for our organization, or is that something that we have to take charge of?
That's a good question, and actually it's kind of timely because Amazon's going through that process right now as a part of their, marketplace changes, right? So Amazon has an initiative right now to update their APIs. They have a project that they're working through that we're a part of the kind of pilot program for some updates to their APIs. So we have a relationship with a lot of the major marketplaces in order to make sure that we understand kind of where they're headed as well. But we do support the API changes that are a part of the infrastructure. So as Amazon continues to expand their kind of proliferation of online sales, or maybe somebody like eBay changes the structure that they're operating with, or Shopify looks at changing their APIs to become maybe something that might be a little bit more marketplace driven rather than direct selling driven. Those are things that we support as a part of our infrastructure, so organizations don't have to worry about finding that IT specialist or developer that's super familiar with API connectivity. We manage that for and on behalf of our customers.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like those are all the questions that have come through today. If anybody has any further questions and you want to contact us, feel free to contact your account manager at Anovia Consulting, or if you would like to reach out to Jeff or Steve, you may certainly do so.
Thanks, Angie, and thanks for hosting today.
Yeah, and thanks, Anovia, for the great partnership that we've had. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you guys.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Jeff and Steve, for presenting. And for everyone on today's webinar, or if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us. And I just want to let you know that we do have more webinars coming up. On February 23rd, we have Steve Waltz from Anovia Consulting. He's going to be presenting on what comes first, the sales process or the CRM. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's anovia.com/events. And I also want to make you aware of our new training workshops that we have going on. We have a variety of training workshops to choose from. So visit the training workshop page, and that's anovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshop that fits you. And we also have a podcast. If you have not heard of it already, it's called the Anovia Conversation, and we want to encourage you to listen to the selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Progulski, have provided to us. And you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, and that's anovia.com/podcast. So check out the selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when our new episodes air. And we do have a conference that is coming up. It's called Explore Dynamics 365 User Conference. And this is a free one-day event for you to attend, February 24th. And for more details on this virtual conference, visit our events page at anovia.com/events. All right, well, thank you again for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you at another Anovia webinar. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.